Hey, welcome to Grandpa Sees the Blinking. Please don't take anything Grandpa says as financial advice. Grandpa is not a financial planner. And if you would, please like, share, and subscribe. Okay, so Grandpa says buy the dip carefully, and the fair opening price for Thursday is going to be $451.89. And in my last live stream a few hours back before church, Grandpa said that we might get up to that 451.84. Anything is possible with Tesla. Believe me, we might blow through it even. But um, I mentioned that 447 was possible as a place we may top out. And of course, what happened? You know, it's like these guys just listen to Grandpa and know what they should do, because they went right up to 447, 25 about. And now they're moseying back down. But currently the price is approximately 440.94, somewhere in there. Okay, I have a few things I want to point out to you in regard to pivot points, because I believe that we may have reached our top pivot point, and I got to get it on the 4-hour chart to show you all this. 488.54, I believe, is our new top pivot point. So we're currently searching for what? A new bottom pivot point. And I have some time to do a little research on this, and I am under the conclusion now that very likely, not for sure by no means yet, 427.01 is our low today. 427.01, right in that area by that green line coming across here. But 427.01 was our low, and that's $61.53 or whatever from what, if this is our top pivot point, and if this is our bottom pivot point, which were both made in the same day. If this is our bottom pivot point, that means we're looking for a new top pivot point, which is really good if you're wanting to go long and be bullish, okay? And normally between pivot points, $50, $60 is a good, strong, normal pivot point. Okay, but they can do $100, they can do $150, they can do $200 pivot points. But most of the time, a lot of the time, it has been $50 to $60. Well, we're at $61.53 or whatever, and so it is a real strong possibility that these guys are doing a misdirection on us here, but we're not going to know positively if this is our, when we will know if 427.01 is our new bottom pivot point, is when we break 488.54. If we go through that, even by pennies, we're off to the races, big time. Off to the races with Tesla, to our next top pivot point, which I think is going to be approximately $90 to $100 at least above 488. So it's going to put you around the 577 area, 600 area, possibly 670. That's all speculation. But regardless, I anticipate it to be substantial, very substantial. Now, some reasons why I see why does Grandpa see 427.01 as an important? Why do I think that it's very likely our bottom pivot point? Well, I'm going to go through that with you right now. In the past, I've got 5 pivot points written down. Okay, 182 was the bottom pivot point back in time. Even number. Okay, and they went down, hit it, managed to break into it, just even number. They couldn't, and they got pushed back hard, and up they went. Okay, that was the bottom pivot point. The next bottom pivot point was 202.36, $202.36. You should have bought shares down there. And the reason it's important is the round number of 200. People tend to put their orders in on an even number, okay? Everybody puts their numbers in on it. Even Grandpa does a lot of it. Periodically, I will front run something by a nickel, and sometimes it pays off big time. But anyway, 202.36. 200 was where all the orders were, but being it was they know that this is going to be their bottom pivot point, and they know the price is going to go up, and they don't want to take and fill those buy orders that are sitting at 200. Okay, they didn't want to fill the buy orders that were at 182 previous to that, and they didn't. They just went there, hit it, and turned around and ran. Same thing with 202. They stopped a couple dollars before that where all the orders were at, so everybody that had orders in at 200 didn't get filled, and off to the races they go up. Here's another example. The third example is 212.11. 212.11, the orders were sitting at 210, even number. Okay, a bunch of them were sitting at 212. 212 and 210 area were loaded. I'll guarantee you with buy orders, okay? And the only one that got shares down there was Chef, and he sold them too early. And he'll never forget it because I'll remind him every day. You know what Grandpa did? I went short down shortly, about $30 above that, and lost my tail. I'm never shorting Tesla again. So I'm not trying to be too smart here. Problem is that crazy Jeff went short with me one time, and it didn't turn out too good. But anyway, so 212.11, you got the even number at 212, and you have the even number at 210. That's where the orders are. They went to 212.11. They didn't let them get filled. Because why? They know they're going up. They know they're going to run uphill. And then we have the next one is, and Grandpa's been talking about this one for the last month and a half, 302.70 is the bottom pivot point, 302.70. Well, why is that important that they turn there? Well, they turn there because 300 to 302 was loaded with buy orders. Everybody wanted to buy at 300 and 302. And so they came within 70 cents of it, and they turned the bus around and went up, up, up. Now, what do we have now? We have 427.01. 01. There was, I called out earlier today in my text to my guys that 427 was a potential place. Well, I said at my last live stream, here's your choices for a bottom pivot point, okay? 427, 417, 400, 390, and 377. And I'll guarantee you that every one of those numbers have people waiting to buy, but especially at 427. And because that's where you would get a good buy. But they stopped a penny before that. All the thousands of orders at 427, 425 area, they didn't get filled. They didn't get filled very likely because we're going to go to the moon and then Mars, and I don't know what Elon's going to do after that. So it adds strength to the fact that Grandpa thinks that they might have made a new top pivot point and a bottom pivot point all in the same day. So when we break through 488.54, the second we break through it, even if it's by a penny, Grandpa will say that was our bottom pivot point for sure. Otherwise, I'm not going to know. Now, either way, I think we're going to come down real close to the 427. Now, if we break 427, then you're looking for 417 next, okay, as a possibility for the bottom pivot point. But until we break 427 even, okay, I believe this bus is going to run uphill, back and forth. Tomorrow, Thursday, I think it's going to be halfway sideways, maybe a $15 range. But I believe that we're going to come down real close and test that 427, okay? I also believe we're going to come up real close and test the 488. I think we're going to run for a little bit here now after this big scare in this virtually $60 range here for a little bit. They'll stabilize it in a $20 area, and it just remains to see. But if you're long and you get an opportunity to take some profit, don't be afraid to take some profit once in a while. There's nothing wrong with taking a profit. And like Grandma, she did excellent today. She made her 617 today, and she made her 511 yesterday. And she's going to buy tomorrow on the bottom somewhere, or way below where she sold, I can tell you that. It's all good. But yeah, you have a ray of hope here. And even if we get a red candle tomorrow and the dominant trend is down, doesn't mean that what's really important is if that 427 holds, that we don't go through and make a different bottom pivot point down there. Because if 427 holds, we are looking for a top pivot point at that right now. We very likely could be looking not for a bottom pivot point, but for a top pivot point. That's my point. That's Grandpa's point. I hope you get the point. I hope somebody's listening to Grandpa. Speaking of listening to Grandpa, I just want to take a minute to explain, and you guys should all know this stuff, but sometimes you don't. I want to talk to you about if you have a cash account with Schwab, and probably most other brokerages the same thing. If you have a cash account, that means you can buy stocks long, and you're allowed to sell them. You can buy them in the same day, and you can sell them in the same day. But when you sell your shares in a cash account, it used to be that you had to wait 2 days before you could buy shares again with that money that you just sold your shares and got your money. It was 2 days till they settled the account. But now Schwab speeded it up and they made it where the next day that money becomes available. But I'm going to tell you, and if you talk to anybody at Schwab and they tell you different, they don't know what they're talking about. Then ask to talk to somebody that has a brain, okay? Because the rules are very clear and very simple, and you don't want to break these trading rules. If you have a cash account and you sell your shares today, you cannot rebuy your shares until the next day. That's the way it is, okay? And if anybody tells you different, even if they allow you to do it and put the money in your account, if you do that 3 times, they can ban you from trading, restrict you. There's all kinds of hateful things they can do to you. Lock your account down. You don't want this kind of trouble, okay? Usually they give you 3 strikes for being dumb. The smart thing to do is to know the rules and then abide by them. Grandpa's a huge rule breaker, and that's why I know all this stuff. Now, a limited margin account that me and Grandma share, a limited margin account, and they're really a pain, and I do not recommend anybody ever do one. But a limited margin account is simply a margin account that has less than $25,000 in it. And when you have $25,000 less in your margin account, it's called a limited margin account. And then it has day trade restrictions. And with the limited margin account, you can short the market, you can go long, you can sell your shares one day and rebuy them the next, no problem. But if you buy and sell in the same day, you're only allowed to do that 3 times in a 5 trading day period. So that's the way it is. So very few of you probably have a limited margin account, hopefully, but some of you probably do. But that's how it works. And if you mess that up, they will turn you into a cash account. And then you can't short the market, and you won't have your 3 times that you can go in and out. The only advantage over a cash account is that you can short the market, and you have 3 times in 5 trading days that you can go in and out of a trade. If you go in and out 3 times in one day, you got to wait a week before you do it on a Monday. It's going to be the next Monday before you get those 3 trades back. However, you could take and rebuy on Tuesday, and then keep them overnight and sell them on Wednesday. But whatever you sell, whatever you buy, you would not be able to sell it until the next day. Now, a margin account, that's the cat's meow. If you got a margin account, you got over $25,000 in your account. You can buy and sell as many times as you want, and it's really hard to lose money with the margin account unless you're got mental problems. And if you're a greedy person, you might have trouble. And if you're a stubborn person like Grandpa, you could have problems with a margin account because you don't want to lose $1, so you would rather lose $10,000, because you get stubborn. But because you can go in and out at will, and So there's no reason to do anything too idiotic. But a margin account is really wonderful, but you got to have a lot of money like Jeff in order to have margin accounts like that, you know. And he's doing real well with his, by the way. Okay, so I hope what I said here is helpful to you. I think we have a ray of hope. Be careful buying this dip. And you know what? Have a little patience, you guys. Have a little patience. You're dealing with the stock now. The movements are much higher. We moved over $61 from high to low today. We're dealing with a stock that can really get up and rock and roll. So, don't jump off a cliff. Don't panic. The deal with Paul coming out, and it's political. People know the greatness of Tesla is coming out. But do you know who's buying these shares when everybody got scared and bailed out today? The big guys, the market makers. They're buying them all. They can't hardly stand it. They want to buy your shares so bad. Give a few more away. Hold your ground, okay? If you're going to sell your shares, make sure you're getting a good profit. Otherwise, don't sell them. That's just the way it is. If you want to take a good high profit and take a chance to rebuy your shares, the problem with selling a Tesla stock is getting back in. Okay, you might sell at 480 tomorrow. Okay, anything is possible at Tesla. Just for a scenario, you might sell at $480 tomorrow, which would be, Grapple would certainly do that. But you might never get a chance to buy at 480 again as long as you live. That's just the nature, the way it is. Okay, but most likely you would. Most likely you get to buy again at 470 or something. So yeah, 447. Looking at what I've seen so far, I was under the thought that my fair opening price of 451.84 probably wasn't going to hit tomorrow, but I'm under the assumption now that I believe it probably is going to hit 451.89, I should say. But if nothing else, you're going to get 447. And there'd be nothing wrong with it running between the 427 and 447 for a day, and then lighten it up on Friday and Monday. We're off to the races. I think they're trying to pull us a fast one here, and I think they made the top pivot point and the bottom pivot point on the same day. Very likely. Very likely. Okay, so we had a great service at church. Pastor really gives a good message. It was on Psalm 59. It's the holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and all that stuff. And think about eternity once in a while. For real. Grandpa does. Bye-bye.